So yeah, welcome to this more or less concluding session on this lecture series by Dr. Ravi Mahamuni, and he will also be summarizing some of the sessions which we had earlier. And uh, let me take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Ravi Mahamuni. So Dr. Ravi Mahamuni is a design thinker with over 29 years of industry experience across diverse roles in technology, design, research, and innovation management, etc. So he leads the design research lab at TCS Research, one of the leading software companies in India and globally. And he serves as an adjunct professor at IDC School of Design, IIT Bombay. His research focuses on design for change, scalable service design, and the role of design in enabling the community-driven transformation. With a robust foundation in both technology and management, he has champions technology as an enabler while emphasizing the importance of human-centered service design. He served on the inaugural advisory board of Social Design Institute, University of the Arts, London, and currently a member of Departmental Advisory Committee here at Department of Design at IIT Hyderabad, as well as the Board of Studies for several national and international institutions. He was recently appointed to the Association of Information Systems Industry Advisory Board. He also represents India at ISO for Global Service Excellence and contributes to the development of international standards in service excellence. Uh, Apart from his professional activity, he is also interestingly is a progressive farmer who is working on organic farming and exploring new techniques, and passionate about bringing glory to farming, and he is an active member of various societies and other initiatives. So with that brief introduction, let me welcome Dr. Ravi to start today's session, and we'll be taking some questions at the end. I request everybody to note down the questions, and then if possible, you can also put it in the chat so that we will take it up at the end. So yeah, with this introduction, over to you, Professor Ravi. You can start the session.
So thanks Prasad for a generous introduction. So I would like to start with this Buddha saying. So what Buddha used to say 500 BC back is like experiences are anicca. Anicca means ephemeral, arising and passing away every moment. We cannot create experiences for somebody else, but can only provide the facilitating condition. I think the way he provided the teaching so that you can get the nirvana. But whatever the path Buddha had shown, everybody needs to individually walk on that path. Similarly, as a designer, actually we can create facilitating conditions where service users, service providers can get experiences. But I think they needs to interact with it. But as a designer, we can just create the facilitating conditions. So I think the saying is still valid and especially very relevant for the designers. Also, there are three important things he talks about. So Sutmay Panna is like wisdom acquired by hearing or reading. Like for example, you are listening to this lecture series and trying to acquire the knowledge. So what it does is this received wisdom or received knowledge is increases the awareness. Once you have awareness, the next stage comes, it is like a chintamay panya. So you do a chintan. Chintan in the sense is that the intellectual understanding, we get into the discussion about it. Okay, so which increases your intellectual understanding. So it's called as engagement. So you have now the awareness, you start thinking about it, you start discussing about it, then you are engaged in those things. But the last one, which is very important, is called as a bhavnamay panya. Means that is the whatever the wisdom you have acquired. Okay, you have acquired and you are now trying to develop it within itself. which is like a creating the experience. So it is the experiential wisdom which actually stays with you for long period of time. So I think these are the three steps. So whenever we are learning something new or want to grow on certain path, so I think it goes at high level from these three stages: having awareness, then getting engaged with that, and then experiencing yourself, so that you can really uh, think about it, apply about it, and also help others to go through it. So with that, I want to start with something. So we might have seen this economy, how it has evolved from agrarian, like agriculture based, then the industrial service, and more on the experiential side. I think this is where currently we are at, the economy of experience economy, and that's why we have to worry about designing the experiences, designing the services, and all those things. But if you look at how it evolves and gives the economic value, correct? So if you look at the two dimensions, one is the competitive positioning and the another is the pricing. So it goes with, like, you have a commodities, then you create the goods out of it, then you try to deliver services around those goods, and also importantly stage the experiences around it. It's not only the delivering the services, but really creating the experience, creating the facilitating conditions so that we can have a very good experience for the different users. I will not go into the details of what is the product, what is the service, and other thing. But important thing is that if you look at this as a product, but it provides the value when it gives you a service. Okay, so the services are about all about the processes or the performances, which creates the value through interaction between customer or user and the service provider. Though the value is intangible, you can't capture that experience per se. Though there is a concept called as how we can evidence this intangibility of the value which gets created. And most importantly, it's the value gets co-created between the customer and the service provider. So it's in nutshell. I'm not going in detail, but I think last time we got some comments saying that okay, we want to. There are few people who are new to the products and the services and the service design. They're just trying to build the background before we go into the details. But what are the different things about all these services and the service experiences? Of course, it's all about the intangibility, heterogeneity. But what is meant by intangibility? So it is like the one can experience, but they cannot see that. Okay, the what exactly they are going through. Then the heterogeneity is about the handling the complex interconnected elements and like that. Inseparability, in a sense, is that the when that experience, the service gives you the experience at that time and place, it's very difficult to actually separate it. So it's like they come to life through interactions. If you are not interacting, you will not get that experience, and that's why this interaction with the various touch point is very important. So as you know, we already have 5 lectures as part of this lecture series. The first lecture was taken by the Professor Mary. She explained about the different basics. Okay, so like the important essence of that lecture was like services are everywhere, though hidden from view. Design makes them clear and better too. With maps and blueprints, we plan with care so every user feels we are there to help them to solve their problem. When there are wicked problems, service designer don't run away. Actually, we work together to solve it. So while explaining all those concepts, Mary actually talked about what is services, service design, what are the different journeys, the concepts of blueprint, the line of interaction, line of visibility type of things, and she nicely actually covered it through various case studies. So I request everyone to go through the video recordings. It's available on our conference website to go in depth of that. So once we understood the basic service design and all, the second lecture was about the emerging markets where like India, how it is happening and how. So there Professor Pramod Kambate covered the participatory design. In that, whether in places with little or the places who are in the rural part also, we look with heart. Understanding people is where we start. Okay? So local hands and phone in hand. So the local hand in the sense is like the involving local people, local communities to solve the social problem. And phones in hand actually indicates that in India, almost more than 75% of the people have a smartphone. So how we can really make use of all those things while solving their problem in a more participatory and a service design fashion. So can we build strong systems across the land, from slums to farms, from youth to old? So it shows that the diversity of the personas which we need to cover, and also design helps their stories unfold through the case studies of Safu. Actually, the last name that SPM ESM NGO. So I think if you can search, you will get the details about that NGO. So he explained that the different projects they have done for that NGO, and how once they started doing it, how the different stories unfolded, and the people came up with saying that okay, these are also problem we are facing. We can participate to solve those things, and how this really community involvement and the service design for society really help to solve the problem on ground through service design methodology. So the important thing is that a lot of times we think about only for the business services, but I feel that the service design methodology can help to the NGOs and the community to solve their problem with their help, with their involvement. And that's actually in the lecture two, propose the Kambate actually explained with the case studies. And so I think you can also have a look at this lecture. Then once we understood this, then we thought that okay, it's a digital era. There are a lot of technological advancements are happening. How we can really use this, make use of these digital enhancements during that. I think there are some microphone open, so some noise are coming. So if you can mute, I think that. Yeah. Thank you. So when technology meets design, actually new path appears. So through that, Professor Satu really explained that how we can make use of technology during the design process as well as in the proposed design. Okay, so even in the lands where towns are near, digital tools and culture combine to craft great service smooth and fine. So I think the idea here is that whenever we are using technology, the cultural aspects are also very important. So can we make use of digital tools also to understand more culture, to understand people, and combine them when we are designing the services. So in that she talked about digital co-creation as well as the service design with the cloud. So in light of all these cloud where a lot of things are happening, how what are the things we can do? And she also briefly touched upon service design with AI. In today's session, we'll go in depth about the AI and how AI can help us in design process to being more creative and other things. In the fourth lecture, so we have designed the services, it's rolled out, but how we can really make sure that those services are really making impact. Just saying that we have designed very beautiful services, we followed the participatory design process, we involved everyone, but how we can really make sure that and measure that it has really make a difference on ground. So Professor Francesca really explained it in detail that there are various ways of evaluating and measuring the impact created by service design. So design feels good, but numbers tells that it has really made difference on ground. If what we made works truly well, we track, we test, we ask, we learn. So ideas go can grow and value return. So I think whenever we are designing, we have great ideas, but unless it creates the value and there is a some return for the peoples involved in that. So we'll in today's lecture we'll go through the what is mean by value, what is the value equations. I think we'll go in depth of those things. So it's not just now but over time. I think that's the I think very important characteristics of service design. It's not that we are looking into one transaction, but we try to see that what the value, how we can create the value for a lifetime value or the over period of time. So it's how we can really build the relationship and not the one-off activity. Okay, so we watch the climb and step by step. So how we can really go step by step and increase the value by measuring it. So as part of that, she divided the service evaluation into three parts. output, outcomes, and the impact. So the output, just quickly, so output is like, suppose you have designed the educational services, so output can be like how many people attended that lecture, for example, or did the skill development, and how many time they have spent. But the outcome is that with this acquired knowledge, how many people got the job. Okay, so the output is very number centric, but the outcome is the value, because they are reskilling or upskilling themselves to get the job. So whether with that they got the job, that is outcome. And the impact generally is for the long term. So in the sense is that because of these educational services, how many people, percentage of the people did the upskilling, and their livelihood become better. So the how the larger over period of time it created the impact. So I think she nicely divided into the output, outcomes, and impact, and how we can measure it. So I think if you can listen to that lecture, you will get to know about it. And she nicely presented various tools and techniques and canvases how we can do that. In the previous lecture, Daniela talked about, so whatever we are doing is good, but what next? How we can really take it to the next level? Okay, so where in that Professor Daniela talked about the future calls with voices strong, because there is a lot of focus on service design. Even in India, in our companies, I think people have understood the what value it brings, and everybody wants to actually make use of this methodology. So the future calls with voices strong of justice, care, and rights gone wrong. So it's not only creating the business value, but how we can really help the society, whatever the wrongdoings are there in the society, how it can be corrected, how it can be people's experience are in. So design must stretch, not stay the same, whatever is there for so many years, to tackle change and shift the game from deep inside the systems wide, and we shape the waves, not just the tide. So in that she explained about the three important things where strengthening our human-centered core. So we say that the design is human-centered and all, but in that how we can take it to the next level. So how we can help people to get the dignity, equity, autonomy, justice, and plurality. Okay. So in our conference themes also, we have taken care of most of the things, and we are promoting that. I think we are really needs to work towards that. And then if we really wants to do it and make the impact, I think we need to scale our service design approach. So how we can do that? So I think in that she nicely explained about service system transformation, that how the services and the systems can really transform it and go beyond just having a service ecosystem, but looking in from a systemic perspective also. And the last one, expanding our core. So currently, if you look at, we say human centered. So human is at the center in every part, like understanding the human requirement, the user requirement. Currently, we are talking about only from a human perspective. So she nicely explained, and she actually showed one very nice video about how we can expand all these principles to other than human stakeholders. She talked about the plants and the trees and other thing very nicely. So I request all of you to, if you have missed her live lecture, so you can listen to the this video where she has nicely explained all these 3 points. Okay. So with that, now I would like to share my thoughts about the what is service design and how we can really. So in I will like to bring some industry perspective also along with academic perspective, and then the different use cases. So we keep wondering actually why design services are getting less likely implemented, because that's the question. A lot of people say we have designed very nice services, but they are not getting implemented, or users are not always using the services which we have deployed, or interventions were effective but now they are no more effective. So like that, there are different aspects and the questions we have, and we have to see that how we can really try to resolve it. So can we do something differently to make sure that this gets solved? But for this, how what we can do as a service designer? Okay, so the generally what we do is that we try to help service users to make a informed decisions, then the motivate service user to perform or not to perform certain action. Okay, then enable service users to perform or not to perform certain actions is in the sense is that not only motivate but create the facilitating conditions for them so that they can perform the thing, and also provide the right interventions, right triggers at right time. Why I'm explaining this, it looks like from a changing people's behavior. So the idea here is that we always say that the designers are in the business of behavioral change. Okay, in a sense, is like whatever we do, whatever we design is directly or indirectly impacts the people, impacts the way they are behaving. Okay, so here we are not, so all the things what we are talking about is more in the sense is that in a ethical sense. Okay, that you have with the right intention, with the involvement of those user, we want to do this. From a business perspective, there are problems in a sense is that the question is that when we ask business guys is that is your customer satisfaction score declining rapidly? Okay, so these are the questions when we interact with the different businesses, we ask them, are you losing the wowness of your products or services? Okay, are you getting fewer recommendations? Is it costing more to acquire new customers and like that? So the idea here is that when we interact with them to show that the service design or the design, how we can contribute to you, how we can help you. I think these type of questions, these are just few questions. I think when we ask them, they start thinking about, yeah, this is happening, and then it opens the door for you and see that they start looking at you like you are their thought partner, and then we can see that okay, how we can really make a difference to their business and all. But why it's important? Because I think keeping pace with rapid evolution of technology and new customer values, because customer values are changing, customers expectations are changing, we need to see that how we can really make use of that. Another important thing is happening is about the transitioning from industry 4.0 to 5.0. So if you look at the industry 4.0, it was mostly, okay, I'm just oversimplifying it, but the industry 4.0 is mainly talking about machine first or the technology first, but the industry 5.0 is talking about the human first. I think when it comes to human or a people, I think designers can really make a difference there. So I think what we feel is that in the industry 5.0, all designers, especially service designers, have a greater role to play. And I think we need to be equipped and be ready to make that difference. Okay. So there is always a right time for early movers so that we can look into the service experience design to make it happen. So what it is industry 5.0? So just briefly, not getting into the details of that, just as I said, the awareness, to build the awareness so that you can get engaged and start to know more about it, discuss about it. So the industry 5.0, it is the shift from a focus on efficiency, productivity and economic value to human well-being and societal value. I think it's really welcoming change in light of so much AI and the technological advancement that now industry also started looking into or focusing on the human well-being. So when we talk about the human well-being, it can be the your financial well-being, social well-being, emotional well-being, and like that. So the holistic. So there are around 7, 8 types actually comes under the well-being, and all those things how we can really do. But while doing that, we are not saying that we should not use technology, and how we can make use of these technologies to achieve this. So the end goal is not that deploying or using the technology, but the end goal is to bring the value to the human being. So how we can really do that. And in that, we feel that the role of service design in this transition is very important. And so that we can really bring this human machine collaboration and with a systemic approach. And I think all our previous lectures have dwelled into this and talked in depth about all those things. So what? So we all talked about the experiential economy and also the customer. For that, if from a experience perspective, what are the things are changing, what are the customer expectations are evolving. So if you look at, these are the different undercurrents currently. Okay, from a business challenges perspective, rapid changes in trends, personalization at scale, ethical consideration. Now everybody is cautious about the privacy, security, and the manipulation risk with AI. Also, ROI uncertainty from a business perspective, like a significant investment in tech, talent, and research. But how there is very uncertainty about the return on investment on all those things. From a consumer or the user behavioral perspective, the values are shifting. Like the lot of people are talking about the sustainability. People are ready to pay for the sustainable products and the services. People are ready to talk about the ethical consumption. Also, whether the ethical values have been followed while developing those products or the manufacturing these products and all. So I think there is an increased value system, belief system, and for that we, as a designer, we catering to their requirement. Also, there are needs. So from functionality to emotional fulfillment, so these needs are changing, wants are changing. So this is from the consumer or the user behavioral shift perspective. To if we want to achieve solve this business or the societal challenges as well as the consumer behavioral shift, I think we need to fast. We need to provide the convenience and also efficient, create the services and all the most important thing is that how we can create the customer lifetime value, and that's how I think we need to. So these are the undercurrent, and we as a designer needs to ready to solve these things, help the businesses and the society to make this happen. So for these ongoing trends in future of customer experience, there are a lot of important aspects. So one is that the people are asking for AI enabled hyper personalized predictive services. Okay, so it is very nice to see that okay, we need to provide this, but balancing the AI efficiency with the human empathy is very critical. And as a designer, I think we have to take this challenge that how we can really balance between the efficiency and the human empathy. It should not overpower the technology should not overpower the human empathy, but I think we need to balance it. Also, now people are wants very micro moments like a quick social interaction. So we call it as the in situ. In that situation, they want to try. Like for example, they want to try-ons, whether it is a spectacle or whether the clothes. The people want to quickly try on before they purchase it. Okay, or IoT enable environment. In that, all this is nice. The technologies are available, but the designer's challenge is that how we can create the meaningful yet non-intrusive interactions. I think that's the designer's challenge. Okay, and like that, so predicting needs, like Tesla's OTA updates, correct? So understanding the need and proactively providing it. So designer challenge is accuracy without overstepping privacy. How we can provide accurate prediction of their need, but without overstepping the privacy and all those things. I think very nice challenges are coming up, and for a designers, I think it's a very interesting area to continue our research and see that how we can make the difference. The last challenge is everybody wants the fresh experiences. So how we can create the fresh yet consistent, universal, personalized experiences for our users. I think very nice challenges for us as a researcher as well as the business people to work on. How we can really do this? While doing that, so this is the empathy square. So what we do is that this is a craft change empathy square. Whenever we are designing any services, how we need to balance the concern, constraint, and expectations of all these four important stakeholders: the service user, service provider, service staff, which is a nothing but the human touch point, and the society and environment. So while designing itself, can we balance all those things so that all the design services, when it gets implemented, there will be less friction and the larger adoption. I think most of us we follow it, but I think if we do it in a more structured manner, being empathetic to all these four important stakeholder is very important. And also, as I said, whatever we do, I think it impacts people's behavior. So how we can really make people aware. So suppose you have come up with a new touch point as an app, but how we can make people aware of that new touch point? How we can help them to consider it, help them to decide, help them to perform action using that digital touch point till they internalize that touch point and they become an advocate that touch point. Or even you can apply this model at the touch point level or at the service level. So you have designed very nice service. Okay, how people will know about that service because they are currently in unaware stage. How we can make them aware? So you need to design interventions for them. Lot of times we just think about that product or a service, but don't think about that how we will attract people, how we can make people aware about those things so that they can start using it not only once but again and again until they become advocates, so that they ask other people that I have used it, how I found the value in it. Now you can also use it. So I think from unaware stage, how we can make them an advocate of service is very critical. If from the success of our design service and bringing the value to the larger audience. But what is the value? We are talking about the value. So in traditional way, we always say the value is that we can provide the benefits, mostly the functional benefits. So if we increase the functional benefits with a less cost, so most of the time monetary cost. But I think we need to look at this value equation from a more broader perspective like this. Okay. So the benefits are not only the functional. I think we need to think about the emotional benefits while designing the services, how we can provide the emotional benefits, more social benefits. Okay. And the costs are generally we have to reduce. So monetary cost. So can we reduce the cost, especially from monetary perspective, so that they can get the value with a less money, as well as the time required to use that service or to get trained on that using the product or a service, how we can reduce the time required to do that action or the effort required to do that action. And also the most important thing is that the psychological aspect. Lot of times, suppose we give a smartphone to the elderly person, they are under stress that I don't know how to use it. Am I making any mistake? So that psychological things, the psychological cost we save, whether we are help, how we can reduce that, and also the social cost. So I think if you see here, the social is it at the both the sides, the benefits as well as the cost. Because let me just give a one simple example is that the lot of times whenever people are doing something they want to quickly put their photos if or the certificate on a social media because they want to increase their visibility, but lot of times there are costs associated with such social interaction. For example, you have posted a photo that you are enjoying holiday at certain place. I think it shows that you are not at home, and there are wrongdoers who are really ready to see that yeah you are not at home, and then they know what to do, correct? So I think like that, so there are, for a social there are benefits as well as a cost, and hence we have to see that how we can safeguard the problems and increase the benefits. So if we want to increase the value, we have to increase these benefits, functional, emotional, and social. And the cost, we have to see that the how we can reduce the cost, time, effort, and all. And we have to balance this equation. Okay. Sometimes we might have to increase the cost, but it should benefits should be really very high to overpower the cost, whatever the additional cost you are putting. I think this is very important equation. Whenever we are designing, we should always ask that whatever the idea we have and put through this equation and see that whether it is really bringing value to our all four important stakeholders, what we talked about in that empathy square. So let's see the example that where we have used, we have applied whatever we have talked till now in practice. So the first example I'm going to show is a passport issuing services, that is the Citizen Services India, and how it really benefited. So I will just show you the small part of it, and whoever is interested, I will also share the YouTube link.
the demand for passport services grew steadily. Particularly 1970s, when the demand for Indian workers grew in the Gulf region, there was tremendous pressure on passport offices to issue passports in a very time-bound manner. More offices were open, but still we were short of meeting people's expectations.
शाम को लोग बाग कतारों में खड़े होते थे ताकि उनका जल्दी से जल्दी नंबर अगले दिन आ जाए। लाइन में खड़े होने के लिए लोग बाग जूते अपने जो है वो लाइन में रखते थे और फिर वो कहीं नाश्ता करने या खाना खाने के लिए जाते थे। एक स्टाफ को जो है 50 पासपोर्ट लिखने की ज़रूरत होती थी और कभी-कभी तो देर तक भी बैठ के पासपोर्ट लिखने होते थे।
To address all this, the government came up with a plan called Passport Seva Project some years back. It was during 2010, and now that the revolutionary changes were brought in issuance of passports in the country.
It took several minds and several years for the Ministry of External Affairs to conceptualize this program. Then we plunged into the journey with very limited experience of the domain, which we quickly imbibed by adopting and absorbing the Indian passport rules. We then had the task to bring synergy and bring uniformity in practices. Today, after having served over 3 crore people through our 77 Passport Seva Kendras in its 4th or 5th year of operations, we believe that the journey has evolved. We have matured in terms of functionality. The experience of the applicant is over 99% great, and that we take a poll at the end of the process of the applicant's visit to the Passport Seva Kendra. We now look forward to this being taken to the rest of the 180 missions all over the world, from where also Indian citizens are given services of passports. And we believe that a single platform that we have developed will definitely be a framework which can then be extrapolated to any type of government to citizen service delivery.
TCS's global experience in delivering large, complex transformational programs, as well as our extensive domain and technical expertise, have helped us deliver a world-class citizen service delivery program.
India is a huge country, geographically spread out, and for any project of this nature, there would obviously be a lot of challenges. Starting with identification of 77 locations where the Passport Seva Kendras were to be set up. Making sure that in all the big cities as well as the mofussil towns, you get space which would be suitable for setting the Passport Seva Kendra. It was a huge challenge. So we traveled all over the country, big towns, cities, smaller mofussil towns, and identify the locations along with the ministry and actually physically set up the Passport Seva Kendras. And then all these Passport Seva Kendras are now having the same look and feel.
The Passport Seva Kendra is so designed that the entire process happens in a unidirectional way. So the first zone is called pre-verification zone, where the basic check of the availability of the documents based on the category of the applicant is done by the TCS staff. Electronic token is issued to the applicant. We have provided for self-help kiosks. Applicants can use this kiosk to file an online application or to also check the status of the application in case they've already filed. We have also provided for the wheelchair for the specially able. In case you have forgotten to bring a photocopy of any of your document, you can quickly get it done here and submit your application. There are floor coordinators to assist you.
We have tried to transform the entire service delivery mechanism. The staff from the TCS, who have been fully trained on the domain knowledge of the passport and the systems, of course, are dealing with the clients just like you see in a foreign bank or an Indian corporate bank where the services are delivered in a corporate environment. All the queries or the doubts which applicants have, they can clarify on these counters.
Once the token is issued, the applicant moves on to the next zone. In case they have to wait for a couple of minutes, the wait is very comfortable and convenient. There are newspapers, there is a small cafeteria provided for applicants to use. We have also provided for a childcare room where feeding mothers can use and feed the babies. The entire processing happens based on the FIFO principle, which is first in and first out. So applicants wait and look at the screen, and the moment their number is called, they go inside to the processing area and get their application processed. Of course, there are special queues also in the system for the senior citizens as well as for the mothers with infants, and they are given priority over others. In A zone, the entire documentation is digitized, the documents are scanned, the photograph is clicked, and also the biometrics are captured. The application is uploaded online by the TCS staff using a digital signature, and then it moves on to the B zone, which is the government area, where the government staff takes a decision on the application. There are 2 screens provided so that the applicant can actually see in case there is any data correction being done by the staff here.
By the time it goes to the government counter, we ensure that it is covered in all aspects.
In the B area, the verification officers of the government look at the documents, the originals, and match them with what has been scanned in the system. They process the application and move it to the next zone, which is called the granting zone or the C zone. Granting officers are the senior government officers who take the decision based on the information which is available in the system. The decision also needs them to take a final call on the police verification. Once the application is granted, the applicant moves to the exit counter.
The applicant gets the acknowledgement that the application has been submitted, under what status, whether this is no police verification, post or pre-police verification.
आज पासपोर्ट इशुएंस प्रोसेस इतना एफिशिएंट हो चुका है कि नो पीवीआर या पोस्ट पीवीआर केसेस जिसमें पुलिस वेरिफिकेशन की आवश्यकता नहीं होती है, एप्लीकेंट जैसे ही पीएसके से बाहर निकलता है उसका पासपोर्ट प्रिंट हो चुका होता है.
I am delighted to see that it's working wonderfully well. The common citizen feels empowered when he comes here.
The system of working, everything is improved so much that within an hour I got my passport granted, and I was very happy to go back. I feel 20 years younger than what I am now.
Yeah. So I think if you look at this example, so small things have been taken care. So not only bringing the efficiency, previously it used to take more than 3 months to get the passport. In most of the cases now within hour it gets granted, and then maybe in a less than 2-3 days it gets delivered at your home. So I think there are a lot of improvements, and if you look at the small interventions, what we have brought in there really made the difference. It's not only about the digital touch points. They are there, they are very important, but there are human touch points also, like floor coordinators and other things. They play a very important role in making such system successful. So let's see the one more example.
Over 60 years ago, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences was founded in New Delhi with a vision of providing world-class healthcare services. However, the influx of patients far exceeded capacity, leading to acute mismanagement and increasing pressure on the country's largest hospital, resulting in poor healthcare quality.
बहुत परेशानी होती है. पहले तो क्यू में जो है सो बहुत घंटों वेट करना पड़ता है. 5 महीने का नंबर ही नहीं आता. 20 दिन लग गया डॉक्टर को क्लास में नहीं. ये जांच वो लाइन हम हो गए पागल. सबसे पहले तो यहाँ एक जनरल इंफॉर्मेशन का बहुत बड़ा अभाव है.
In December 2015, AIMS, in partnership with Tata Consultancy Services, launched a unique, patient-friendly transformation of its OPD services. With a simple 5-step process, TCS introduced new technology and streamlined innovative processes to treat patients efficiently and effectively. This joint commitment successfully revolutionized the healthcare system in India, setting a benchmark in human effort and competency with the new OPD process.
यहाँ मैं 8 बजे आया था सर, और मैं फ्री हो गया 2 घंटे में.
सबसे बड़ा अंतर ये आया है कि अगर हम लोगों को थोड़ा समय भी लग रहा है तो हम लोग आराम से यहाँ बैठ के रिलैक्स मोड में अपना वर्क करवा सकते हैं.
Another more advantage is that the patient वो अपॉइंटमेंट लेके आ रहे हैं, इसको लिए हम प्रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं. जो पेशेंट अपॉइंटमेंट लेके आ रहे हैं उसके लिए हम बैन सिस्टम भी शुरू कर दिया.
पहले पेशेंट के लिए इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए कोई साइनेज नहीं था. पेशेंट इधर उधर हर किसी से पूछता रहता था गार्ड से, ये कहाँ है, वो कहाँ है, टेस्ट कहाँ होता है, ये कहाँ होता है. आजकल टीसीएस के आने के बाद प्रॉपर साइनेज सभी जगह लगे हुए हैं, हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में, तो पेशेंट को पता चल रहा है कि कहाँ जाना है उसको.
हमारे काफ़ी सारा शहर्स आ गए हैं जो इसमें हमारी हेल्प करते हैं.
प्लस वो रूम्स के बाहर भी डॉक्टर्स के पास रहते हैं और इजीली पेशेंट को बुलाते हैं और इजीली डॉक्टर्स देखते हैं।
चाहे इंडिया में किसी कॉर्नर में बैठा हुआ पेशेंट हो, वो अपने कार्ड, अपने एंड्रॉयड फ़ोन या अपने कंप्यूटर से लेके सीधा बिना किसी बिचौले के या बिना किसी वो अपना आके कार्ड बना सकता है।
From the exit counter, we are giving appointments for all the departments, then clinics, investigations and procedures. Also, each individual patient is given instructions regarding each procedure.
With the transformation of the AIMS OPD, TCS envisions a proprietary and robust model that is replicable and scalable, enabling quick rollout across public sector hospitals in India and elsewhere. Using technology yet again to improve the life of the common man, to drive change and to transform India, today and for the future.
So these are the two videos which are available on YouTube. So I will also share the links. So the idea here is that if you look at all those things and such a projects of such a scale, how it become a successful. So it's the service design, but what type of specification it created, which has given to the different set of people or different set of groups or the departments to implement it. The first thing, so whenever any service design project of such a scale, so we say is that all that thing gets captured in a 5 types of specification. One thing is that, are there any policy changes we need to do? Lot of times people think that we should not worry about it, that we should not suggest any policy changes, but it puts a lot of constraints. So if you look at the example of citizen services, that passport seva kendra, so lot of policy changes actually we suggested, which ministry approved and all. Without that, it was very difficult to do this type of transformation. Okay, so I think we have to see, and it's not like every project will have any policy changes, but I think we need to look at that. Are there any requirements to, if we want to give this type of experience, whether there is any policy changes required and process changes. So if you look at in both the projects, lot of process changes we did, and it's very critical. While the third thing comes is at the touchpoint ecosystem. Lot of times we just think about the digital touchpoint, but the touchpoint ecosystem can be digital plus the human and now the physical also, that whether signages and other things. I think so it's like how we can create this touchpoint ecosystem and provide details for the implementation perspective. Then human to human interaction, because there are human touch points. So how they are going to interact with the patient, how they are going to interact with the citizen who are coming for a passport. So I think so that once we identify this human to human interaction, it helps in training that service staff or a human touch point, that how we can train them so that they give a better service to the users, as well as what are the needs they have, so that we can enable them so that they can do a better job. So that's why human to human interaction is very critical. A lot of times we just look at the human to computer interaction. So I think this type of both the interactions we have to list down and put it into our specification. And last thing is the service scape. Okay, so I think in both the projects what I showed, I think service scape played a very important role, that how where the service is going to be delivered, how the layout should be, how the things should be there, so that we can provide a great service to all the stakeholders. I think this is how when we talk about the service design, we say we have to look at holistically and all, means this, so it should result into these type of specifications, which can then handed over to the implementation team along with us, which gets implemented on ground and provide the value as shown in that value equation to our users and the other stakeholders. So I think now we'll talk for some time, maybe 5 minutes, about the what is the AI, what the role it is playing, and what are the experimentation we have done to see that how the AI can be used in a design life cycle as well as in the proposed design. Okay, so when we talk about all those things, the creativity in fields like art, design, and storytelling, I think the most important thing is that the problem solving, which remains distinctly with human, identifying these problems which really, and in the both the projects also, that's what the thing. So I think though there is a AI and other thing, but this identifying the right problems, what and how to solve those problems remains the distinct characteristic of a human being. But what AI? AI excels at processing vast amount of data, whether we have collected as part of our primary user research or whatever is already there in the complaint management system or the social media or another. So all that processing and giving the right insights, I think AI is very good at that, and I think as a designer we should utilize that capability. But the human intuition and the critical thinking are essential for decision making. I think it's still, as a human at this moment, I think we are doing much better than the AI. So as a human, I think we have these characteristics about analyzing something or reasoning about something. Okay, though there are new AI versions have this reasoning as a thing, but they reason with the existing data. They will not come something which is very out of box, something which is different, but human being has that capability to do that. Okay, asking the questions. Okay, a lot of times we ask the questions to AI, but what question to ask? Okay, I think that is still that, and the value systems what we have, the all those things, I think it's very important for human being, as well as that's our capability, and I think we should utilize that capability in this existing era also. So when I say HI means it's a human intelligence and AI means artificial intelligence. So how they are complementary to each other. So just this. So the human intelligence talks about the broadness of thinking through superficial. So we can connect different things which are there and all. But I think if you look at from an AI perspective, it is like the narrow but the deeper thought processing. So they go in depth because they have already analyzed lot of data, lot of everything. So they can go in depth of that, but the broadness of the thinking, I think that's where HI is very, and also subjective, the synthesis of ideas and other, so the AI can do objective and all. Okay, so these things, I think this is what where the human intelligence is the very good at the uniqueness, but then the AI is the replicability and all. So these, if you look at this, both are important, and how we can really make use of that which complements each other is very critical. So all those things we tried to do it in our one of the experiment we did. So we worked with Prayas Healthcare NGO, and we are working with them on the HIV patients. So for that we use this as a approach where in the service design life cycle itself we try to use AI at the different things. So if you look at service design process, and there are AI accelerators we used in that process. So we have published this paper in the recently in the ICOT 25 conference. So I think you can get more. So the here idea I want to say is that the when we experimented this few maybe 8-9 months back, so we found these are the advantages, but the limitations were is like it was missing the context, the specific finding, like when we do our user research or something, it was missing those specific finding, as well as the domain experts validation was required, whatever the insights they have provided, because there was hallucination, there was some misinformation. I think that was there, and also challenging for designers to build the empathy with users. I think this is very crucial. So when we do the user research, we interact with the user. Actually, we get into that. We try to understand. But if we get the data from AI or the other ready-made about the user insights and all, you are able to connect with that. I think that was very good insights we found during this experimentation and the transparency issues. And so our recommendation in that paper was about the hybrid approach and the ethical AI use, that how we can really safeguard the use of that, and the stakeholder inclusivity is very important. Still, we want to involve the stakeholders and then see that, validate with them, understand their problems and do that. So what is the way forward? I think it is like human intelligence or AI are not neither masters or nor competitors, but I think are nor enemies of each other. But I think we need to see that they are different, and they are less likely to replace. This is the current state. But I think we found that it's complementary and it's very useful. So we are working on lot of projects, and soon we'll be publishing all those things, that how we can make use of this complement each other without compromising on the rigor as a designer what we are doing. Okay, so there are a lot of new jobs are getting created because of this, and what the AI can do, like co-pilot, or we call it as a genius partner, or the learning buddy and all. So I think we can make use of this in a different avatars or different roles to do that. So I think we should be doing more or we should do better in what we are good at. Machine should do better what they are good at, and then how we can really strike a lasting partnership between these two. Okay, so I think we can't just keep saying that okay, designers, we don't want to use these new technologies, but I think if we look at it, it's transforming every aspect of our life and the world around us. So I think we should be cognizant of that fact and try to utilize it. So instead of saying that no, but I think we should see that how we can really bring out best in us by using AI and think beyond what they are doing. So just to give an example, because I'm an adjunct professor at IDC School of Design. So there, when we give a assignment, we say that you use the AI. Okay, you, as part of your submission, you have to put all the AI results. You have to put what the query you have given to ChatGPT or any other AI tool, and also give us the link. Now this is your starting point, what the AI is giving to you, and you have to build on that. So that we are not asking them to don't we make use of it. We are saying make use of it, but now you have to raise your bar. You have to build on top of that what AI is giving, and that both they have to submit as part of the submission. I think we have to think beyond what AI is giving, and we have to teach our students, or as a professional also, we have to look into that and see that how we can really go beyond it. So I think why we are talking about all those things, because what you do makes a difference. You means as a designer make a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. With that, I would like to stop here, and really want to thank you for patiently listening, and really looking forward to see you all at the conference. Primary and secondary user research, how you refine the design brief, it's very critical, because whatever the initial design brief, most of the time it might be the side effect or we just feel. Once you do the user research, you get to the root cause of it, and then most of the time we refine. Sometimes it might not be refined because you might have got the refined design. I think that is very critical. Then you should get into the what are the insights, the personas, then the different artifacts, what they have taught you, whether they have taught you the blueprinting, then the journeys, how to create the personas and like that. So I think depending on that, and the service concept, whatever the ideas you have, how you came up with the service concept, how you validated it, and what's the next thing that where you feel like what the value it brings. So if you use that value equation, I think for different service concept, that what value it is really bringing. I think if you put this, I think your submission will be great. Okay, you will get maximum marks. And also you might get encouraged to implement it in real life. It will not leave like a only college project.
Yeah, put it into practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so one comment is that designing for such a big democracy is really impressive. Loved the TCS project examples of Passport Seva and AIMS. I think everybody is loving that. But they wanted to know what is it that TCS is next working on?
Okay. So there are a lot of things actually, being a part of a Tata group. Okay. So Tata, wherever it is, for them nation first. So whenever they are operating out of India, India becomes nation first. When they are operating out of European countries, that nation comes first. If they are operating from America, that nation comes first. So I think that currently from an India perspective, we are working on lot of things. Actually, the projects, so TCS transformation projects are happening, even the post offices. Okay, so we are working on TCS post office, BSNL also, all the communication. I think that TCS also working on, and there are a lot of other things where currently TCS is working on as a TCS. But as a TCS design research, we are working into the how we can make use of the technology in the design life cycle, as well as this. We are also working on how we can really scale up the service design thing. Okay. That's what also we are working on. We are also working on about the prototyping, because prototyping service design is difficult. Okay, a lot of times product prototyping is easy, but considering it's holistic, there are so many touch point, human touch point, digital touch point, all those things. So we are also working on that, how we can make it up. So I think like that, there are a lot of things which we are currently working on. We keep posting through our social media post about, we are working on the digital twins and other things. So we have papers on the digital twins of organization, digital twins of societies, digital team twins of town, and like that. So I think a lot of things are happening. So even we have worked on the digital skin, and so as a TCS we work on a lot of larger projects. But coming back to the service design, I think this type of things are currently happening. Apart from the whatever I mentioned is the social or the citizen services type of project, but we are also working with a lot of customer, improving passenger experience at airport, then the building the patient centric healthcare systems, and like that. I think you just name it, most of the places we are there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I think there was a related question. You just mentioned post services, right, Ravi? So I think somebody also wants to know, what do you think should change in, Aadhaar Seva Kendras and Indian Post Services of India? Two of these.
I think a lot of things needs to be changed. Okay. I think the most important thing is that the way we look in our day-to-day life, I think it should reflect on the Aadhaar card photo. I think that is the most important thing. Another thing is that I think the overall process needs to be improved and make it very transparent and all, because if there are any mistake, getting it corrected is very difficult. And if you look at in the Passport Seva Kendra, so we wanted to fix the problem of data correction at the source itself. So that's why we had a two screen. So whatever is the data entry operator is entering the data, you are seeing. So if that person makes any spelling mistake, then and there you can say that no, you have made this mistake. I think instead of giving you the opportunity to fix the problem they created, we want to fix it at the source itself, so that it will not happen. I think like that, even for Aadhaar and all, currently we are not involved in that. But I think lot of learnings from the Passport Seva and the other services, I think can be replicated or adopted in other citizen service projects.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they are quite similar, I think, this which can be
Yes.
replicated here, at least in Aadhaar Seva Kendras, right? There's also one more interesting question. If you have to choose the top 3 aspects a service designer should focus on when designing for India, what would they be? Top 3
So the
aspects a
first thing
service
is
designer should
that
focus on.
look at the diversity. In a sense is that, so if you look at, okay, I'm going back to the, because of this Passport Seva, it's like, though there are so many digital touch points, why there is a need for a floor coordinator? Okay, because in India, there are still a lot of illiterate people, okay, or elderly people, or even illiterate people wants to talk to the human being. Okay, they feel, okay, mera number kab aayega, like when I will be there, or how much time it will take, or I don't have this document, what to do next, and all. Though everything is there in digital form. So I think that whenever we are designing, we have to see that technology is enabler, but I think that human aspect is very critical. And in India, we have to worry about the not only the literate but the illiterate people also, not only the rich, but we have to worry about the poor, because the gap is huge. And hence, while designing, I think we have to take care of that. Second thing is that, as we say, is about that value equation. It's very important. It's not only about providing more features in a less cost. That's a traditional way to look at it. I think we have to look at the full equation and see that whenever we are designing something, how we can reduce the stress of the people who are going to use my product or service. That is that psychological cost. Okay. If I have to train them how we can make sure that they don't have to go through the training. First of all, they should able to, in a less time and effort, should be able to use my service and product. I think like that we have to think about or how we can bring the emotional value to the whatever we are designing. And I think that's the second point. And the third point is that we have to go in a rolling way style. In a sense is that you cannot come up with some solution which will cover whole India. No, it's impossible in first shot. So you have to decide that what is the place where you will evaluate, do it, apply. So even for a passport seva kendra, first we tried out at 2 places. When it started working, then we started expanding and like that. Because I think that's how, and it's not only for India. I think everywhere you have to see that you first show the value with a small setup and then replicate at different places.
Correct, correct. Yeah. Now there's a different direction that we are taking from here. There's a question on so service design as a discipline seems to be highly influenced by the West in both practice as well as academically. So what role do you think the design schools in India should play in shaping the discipline of service design in itself and not just in practice?
Correct. So I think there are 2 important things I feel. Okay. The first important thing is that without worrying about whether it's coming from west or east or something, first we have to understand it. First we have to understand what it is in a as is form. Then try to adopt it for our context. Okay. Yeah, as part of our design research team, last 6-7 years we are doing that. Okay, so if you look at our papers, or I think if you are interested, connect offline, we can show that is that we like a participatory design process. Okay, where people have to be there from start to end. So we have come up with a quasi-participatory method, understanding the constraint in an organization like TCS or in our context. So how you can do that? Okay, so I think we have to adopt, but to adopt first we should know what it is and try a lot of things actually. See, all these are method framework. My second point is that first is the adoption. Second thing is that when you apply, I think you can always apply contextually. You have to contextualize and then apply. Okay. So I think that is the most important thing. And the third thing is that don't get caught in the structure. What I mean is that there is a canvas. Okay, lot of times people just go with a tick mark way. Okay, persona create karna hai, so I have created 5 personas. Okay, tick. But are they really a representative of population under consideration for which you are designing the service? So the rigor is important. You may go away from that template, but the essence is there captured. Or whether you have a blueprint, you are just filling it, or you have a value canvas, you are just filling it. Filling is not important. Okay, what to fill is very important, and I feel that you should focus on those things and not get caught into the templates and that. But I think what value it brings. If you want to deviate, that's fine, but I think it should help you in achieving your goal, what you want to achieve.
Yeah, yeah. There's a big question, another big question. So I think rather than summarizing, I would just read it aloud. You know, students
Okay.
should be more focused on placements and have to get a place in companies, or should they go for entrepreneurship or any startup or incubate any service providing company? And how should we understand the problems of large cap of these people? Because every people's problem and every people's financial levels are different. So according to it, how should we develop our service and how it could match the solution for the problem by that required person?
Okay, it's a big question, but okay, in bits and pieces, whatever I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so the important thing, always as a student, I agree, giving here and giving Gyan saying that no, you should not be worried about placement. You should be. I am not going to say that, okay, because I am on both the side. I lived that life. So the important thing is that it's your decision. Okay, so whether you want to go for a job placement, but while doing that, just don't look at the tick mark saying that okay, I'm just going, but make sure that whenever you are learning or going through the course like a service design, system design, or anything, get to the essence of that, try to apply in your project. Okay, anyway, that will help you in getting the placement. And I think into answering the question, previous question I mentioned is that whenever you are doing these assignments or the projects, see that what you love, what the problem you want to solve. I think start doing that in a series. If you are in a P1 project 1, build the project 2 on top of that, build the project 3 or project 4 or the assignments around it, so that you have a domino effect. You create a cluster of the things by end of your age, that course or the education. Then you can take a call that whether I have all the ingredients to start my own, or still I need some time. Then you can go for a placement and join the company, but still keep working on your ideas and make sure it's complete, get the validation from a different stakeholders, and then proceed. So I think this is the balanced approach you can take based on your appetite, risk appetite, based on your financial appetite and other things. I think this is what I can say, unless I get into the details of the specific. This is the generic advice I can give at this moment.
Yeah, I hope this discussion was helpful for the service design students too. I actually had one more question. We have almost like 8 minutes. Can I go ahead?
Please.
Okay. So, see, now things are very fast, quickly changing, right? I mean, it's not just that AI has come in, these things keep happening, but then now things keep changing very fast. Things keep changing was fine, but now things keep changing very fast, like technological evaluation or the way we are using newer services and products. It is shaping our expectations also differently, our expectations as consumers. So those also keep evolving like very rapidly. So in this kind of fast evolving landscape, do you think that service design toolkits, traditional service design toolkits that we have are still effective, or we need to evolve these toolkits?
No, I think it needs to be evolved, and they are evolving. So if you look at, okay, things keep evolving. And I think in Daniela's lecture, she has really explained it, like all these toolkits, methods and tool, how we can really expand, okay, from like strengthening our human-centered core, where she talked about dignity and other. Then the scaling service design approach from a service system to systemic view, and what we are also the research we are doing at TCS Research about the scaling methods, tools and other things. And the third thing is the expanding the core. Look even beyond the human beings to the non-human beings also. If we have to do all those things, of course we have to change our method, tools and technique. But the essence remains the same. Okay, it might change, which might be contextual, but I think that if you look at the way blueprint was created long back versus now, it's changed. The journeys, the way people create the personas, it changed. Correct. Now we have a dynamic personas, we have a group personas, and like that. So I think things keep evolving, but now we have to see that the whatever we are doing with help of AI. Okay, do you want to create something which is AI supported, or AI performed, or AI mediated, or AI augmented? Okay, so it's not that one thing fits all. It will keep changing what you really wants to do.
And in different situations, different things might
Exactly.
be.
And we have to keep, so though there are methods, tools and techniques, evolved one also, but contextually you have to make some changes in that. And that's how I think we have to do, without losing the rigor and the sense of that.
Okay, I think with that, we can probably close the current session. I wanted to thank you once again, Ravi, for this insightful session, this interesting session actually, that you just not only just summarized the previous sessions very beautifully, but you also covered, a lot of aspects from the industry perspective, how what customer expectations are, what business problems are, and even industry 5.0, role of technology or AI in service design. So thank you for sharing all of your viewpoints and insights on all these topics with all of us today. And I would like to also thank the participants session. I think it was a nice Q&A session as well. It was very interesting because of all the interesting questions. So I hope everyone who is sort of new to the service design, as well as who has been in the service design field for quite some time now, everybody has got benefited from this session that Ravi conducted, as well as the whole sort of this ServDes lecture series that. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Ravi.
Thank you. Thanks a lot,
And
and
I
looking
hope to
forward to
see
seeing you
everyone.
all
Yeah.
at IIT Hyderabad during the ServDes 25 conference. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. See you in October. See you all. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
I will send the YouTube links via
Hmm.
email for all the one because I can't
Hmm.
switch right now. I will send it to everyone actually, all those two YouTube links. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
think that would be the best. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot.
Bye bye.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.